Let me ask you something. Have you ever had this brilliant idea? One you were just positive would work, but you couldn't get anyone to listen? You couldn't get it off the ground? Well, we're gonna fix that. In this explainer, we're diving into a framework for turning those amazing concepts into reality by mastering the art of building genuine buy-in, all based on the fantastic work of Simon Dowling.
It's a feeling we all know, right? You've got a game-changing idea, a project you know will make a huge difference, but it just fizzles out. It dies because you couldn't get that crucial support, that energy from other people to actually make it happen. And man, is that a frustrating experience.
And you're not just imagining it. This isn't just a feeling, it's a hard fact. According to the change management guru John Kotter, a whopping 70% of all major change initiatives fail. 70%. And one of the biggest reasons why, you guessed it, a fundamental lack of buy-in from the very people who are needed to make it work.
And the cost of getting this wrong, well, it can be absolutely staggering. This number, $40 million, isn't hypothetical. This was a real-world failure. Take the airline Qantas. They tried to roll out a new parts management system, but they completely forgot to engage the engineers, the people who actually had to use it. The engineers started calling it dumb jet. And after 3 years of fighting, the whole project was scrapped. That was the $40 million price tag for not getting buy-in.
So what is the real problem here? What's going on? It's that the entire rulebook on how influence works, especially in the modern workplace, has fundamentally changed. The old ways of getting things done, they just don't cut it anymore.
See, back in the day, we had what you could call influence by decree. It was that classic top-down, do it or I'll fire you model from the industrial age. But today, we're living in the age of buy-in. Your influence doesn't come from your title on an org chart. It comes from the power of your ideas. It's about inspiring people, getting them to say, yeah, let's do this together. And the best part, this is a skill. It's not magic. You can absolutely learn it.
So, how do you learn it? Well, it all starts way before you even think about pitching your idea to anyone. This is what we call the get ready phase, and you can think of it as the critical prep work that's going to set you up for success down the line.
You've probably heard this quote from Abraham Lincoln, and it is the perfect metaphor for this. Most of the real work happens before you ever ask for a single thing. Sharpening your axe means building your own deep, unshakable conviction and creating a rock-solid strategy before you even try to make the first cut.
Part of that preparation is deciding who you're going to be in this process. Are you just going to be a courier, someone who just delivers the message, goes through the motions, and ticks a box? Or are you going to be a catalyst? Someone whose passion is so infectious, it actually starts a chain reaction. To be a catalyst, you have to truly, deeply believe in your own idea. Come on, if you're not sold, why on earth would anyone else be?
So how do you build that deep belief? Well, here's a really powerful technique. Find your big so what. It's simple. State your idea out loud. Then ask yourself, so what, like a skeptical teenager, and then answer it. And then ask, so what again? Keep digging and digging until you get past all the jargon and the business speak and you find the core human purpose, the real reason your idea actually matters.
Okay, once your own conviction is solid, it's time to map the battlefield. You have to know who's who in the zoo. Think about it in these 4 categories. You've got the decision maker, the person with the final say. Then you have the influencers, who have the decision maker's ear. You've got the implementers, the folks on the ground who will actually do the work. And then you've got the wild cards, those people who could pop up out of nowhere and derail everything if you're not ready for them. All right, with all that preparation done, your axe is sharp, you've mapped the terrain, you are ready for the go phase. This is where you actually pitch your idea and win that support. And there is a very specific sequence you need to follow, one that starts with emotion, not with logic. Emerson just absolutely nailed it here. The heart tells the mind where to focus. Before you can ever hope to appeal to someone's rational brain, you first have to capture their emotional mood. You have to create this instinctive, positive feeling, a leaning towards your idea, before you say a single fact. And this brings us to the really simple and powerful 3M model. First, you capture the mood. Then, and only then, do you engage the mind with all your logic and your facts. And finally, once you have that agreement, you have to drive the movement to turn that yes into real action. I'm telling you, the order here is absolutely critical. So, how do you actually shape the mood?
Well, you have a whole toolkit. You can project the energy yourself that you want to see in the room. You can share strategic stories that really connect with people. You can use powerful metaphors. You can zap them, let them actually experience the idea for themselves. Or you can even do something a little extreme to break through all the noise and really grab their attention. Okay, once the mood is right, now you engage their mind. But look at the flow here. This is not a lecture, it's a conversation. You explain, sure, but then you listen, like really listen, and you adjust your idea based on their feedback. You actually make them a co-creator of the idea before you ask them for that final yes. But getting that yes, that is not the end of the road. In fact, it's just the starting line. A yes without any action is totally useless, which brings us to the final crucial phase, movement. This is all about turning that agreement into actual, tangible results. Now, to make this manageable, we can break movement down into 3 phases. First, you need to start. You got to overcome that initial inertia. Second, you scaffold their efforts to keep them moving on the right path. And third, you have to sustain that momentum for the long haul. Here's a brilliant strategy for that start phase. Choreograph the dance moves. What does that mean? It means don't be vague. Give people super crisp, clear, unambiguous instructions on the very first few things they need to do. Think about that old road safety campaign. It didn't just say, drive safely. It gave a specific action, wipe off 5. It was simple, it was clear, and it worked. Now, this next concept, scaffolding, it's a game changer because it recognizes a simple truth about us humans. Willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. So instead of relying on it, scaffolding means you actually change the environment to make the right behavior easier. The classic example, if you want to get up earlier, just move your alarm clock to the other side of the room. It forces the new habit, no willpower required. Okay, we have covered a lots of ground, I know, but just learning this stuff isn't enough, right? The goal is to actually take action. So let's make this real. Here is your first actionable step to start building buy-in today. Look, don't try to do everything at once. First, just start small. Pick just one single technique we talked about. Maybe it's asking so what, or trying to choreograph a dance move, and just try it in a low-risk situation. Think of it as an experiment. Second, make yourself accountable. Tell someone, a manager, a friend, a mentor, what you're doing, and ask them to check in with you. That little bit of scaffolding makes it so much more likely you'll actually follow through. So as we wrap this up, it's worth asking a much bigger question. Are all these ideas just a clever set of techniques to manipulate people and get your way? Or is learning how to build genuine buy-in something much, much deeper? Could it be the key to creating a culture where people feel heard, valued, and truly part of a shared, meaningful purpose? Definitely something to think about.